同學，今次我們將會學習 Group Discussion Skills 14 Concept Group Discussion Skills 14 How do you explain a point in your discussion? Because, for example, I study hard because I want to get a good grade. For example, I cleaned up my bedroom because it was very messy and dirty. As, for example, I cleaned up my bedroom as it was very messy and dirty. For example, as it's raining, we have decided to stay home. Since, for example, since my bedroom was messy and dirty, I cleaned it up. For example, would you consider it since you asked nicely? Giving examples. For example, he has many hobbies. For example, he collects stamps, makes models, paints landscapes, and writes poems. For example, this car has many advantages over other models. For instance, it costs less and it does not consume much petrol. For example, he has many hobbies, such as collecting stamps, making models, painting landscapes, and writing poems. For example, he has many hobbies, namely, collecting stamps, making models, painting landscapes, and writing poems. For example, he has many hobbies, like collecting stamps, making models, painting landscapes, and writing poems. For example, let me give an example. Money cannot buy happiness. For example, an example will illustrate this point clearly. Between wealth and health, most people prefer choosing the latter. Practice. You may form a group with other Form 4 students to do the following question. Record the discussion and ask a tutor to give you comments. Below is synopsis of the book that appear on the Reading Club website. Synopsis 摘要 Title Confession of Shopaholic. Author Sophie Kinsella. Rebecca Bloomwood is a journalist for the financial magazine Successful Saving. Her job is to teach people how to manage their money. As a financial writer, Rebecca offers her readers lots of good advice on how to manage their money. Yet when it comes to her own spending, her thinking is overpowered by her addiction to shopping. Rebecca soon found herself in deep financial trouble. However, instead of thinking of a rational way to pay off her debts, she ignores them. Every time she receives a bill or letter from the bank, she just shoves it into a drawer. She even unplugs her phone. To some readers, Rebecca's behavior may seem a bit over the top. However, with more and more people describing themselves as being addicted to shopping, many may see a bit of Rebecca in themselves. Sophie Kinsella's Confession of a Shopaholic is not just a quick, fun read, but should also make any reader think twice before taking out their credit card in the future. Your group wants to write an article about shopping addiction for your school newspaper. Discuss with your group what to include in the article. You may want to talk about what the term shopping addiction means, why you think the problem of shopping addiction is on the rise, what advice you would give to someone who wants to stop being a shopping addict. Anything else you think is important. Task 1. Question 1. In the group discussion task, what is the main task? Answer. Students are asked to write an article for your school newspaper on the problem of shopping addiction in Hong Kong. Question 2. Do you understand shopping addiction? Answer. It is compulsive shopping, and the shopping addicts cannot stop going shopping. Sample discussion. Student A says, let's start, shall we? Our group wants to write an article about shopping addiction for our school newspaper. We need to discuss what to include in the article. The first thing we need to discuss is what the term shopping addiction means. What does everybody think? Student C says, I think a shopping addict is a person who shops till they stop. You know, someone who enjoys shopping so much that they don't know when to stop. People with this kind of addiction have to go out shopping or they feel unhappy and uncomfortable. Student A says, so the term shopping addiction describes the condition of when a person is addicted to shopping? Student D says, that's absolutely right. In fact, I've heard that people can become addicted to shopping in the same way as others become addicted to nicotine, alcohol, or drugs. Student A says, whoa, I had no idea. Student B says, yes, I read about it in a magazine recently. Often, shopaholics pretend that they don't have a problem and sometimes even hide their shopping so that others can't see it. Student A says, like Rebecca in the book Confession of Shopaholics, she pretended that she didn't have a problem by hiding her post and even unplugging her phone. Student D says, yes, that's right. Student A says, so shopping addiction isn't just like to shop, it's actually a kind of psychological disorder? Student B says, yes, shopaholics say they feel happier when they go out and buy something. Apparently, window shopping doesn't count. Student A says, sorry, but I don't understand what you mean by window shopping doesn't count. Student B says, I mean someone with a shopping addiction usually has to buy something in order to feel better. Just looking at things in a shop window doesn't provide the same kind of kick. Student D says, I can think of a few shopaholics. In fact, I'm wondering if I'm not a bit of shopaholic. Student D says, I can think of several too. My sister, for example, she buys bags and bags full of stuff and then just sling it all in a heap on the floor. Her wardrobe is full of clothes that still have their labels attached. Someone who spends almost her entire money on new clothes and accessories who really doesn't need. One time, Student A says, excuse me, I think we are getting off the topic. Let's move on, shall we? The next point we need to discuss is why we think the problem of shopping addiction is on the rise. Does anyone have any ideas? Student B says, I tend to think it's because some people are under so much stress these days. This stress builds up and then people look for a chance to relieve that stress. As we said earlier, for some people, shopping becomes a way of dealing with likely false unhappiness. When they buy something, it somehow makes them feel better. CNT says, yes, I think you could be right. I think another reason could be because there's so much opportunity to shop in Hong Kong. Wherever you go, there are shops and they are open all hours too. So there's always an opportunity to go out and buy something. If you are bored, lonely, or can't sleep, you can always find a place to spend your money. Student A says, I agree with you. There's always somewhere you can find a shop that's open. Just think about 8 p.m. For example, some of the shops there are open 24/7. Student D says, yes, that's true. It's great, isn't it? I love it there. But seriously, I think you're right. The number of shops and the long opening hours may be one cause of the rise in shopping addiction. That plus the increasingly wide variety of shops that are available in Hong Kong. There's so much choice that it's difficult not to become interested in shopping. I guess for some people, an interest in shopping then goes on to become an addiction. CNA says, I see what you mean. It's a kind of slippery slope. Once people start getting addicted, it can be extremely difficult to break the habit. Student D says, yes, that's right. CNA says, in my opinion, I think consumerism is to blame. People have become so obsessed with material possessions that they are only happy when they have more and more of them. I think the ease with which people can apply for credit cards is also a contributing factor. If people couldn't buy things on credit so easily, they wouldn't be able to do all this shopping in the first place. They wouldn't have the money, would they? Do you see what I mean? Student B says, yes, absolutely. Well, I think we've covered that point. The next thing we'll literally discuss is what advice we would give to someone who wants to stop being a shopping addict. Student A says, there's a top one. I suppose it depends on how bad their addiction is with how long they've been addicted to. Student C said, I think that if someone's only mildly addicted, they could attempt to control their addiction by keeping a record of all their purchases in a notebook. They will remind them of how much money they did spend. If they see it written down, they may realize that they have a real problem. Student B says, I don't know about that. I think most people wouldn't bother or they to cheat. Student A says, sorry, but I didn't catch that. Could you say it again? Student B says, what I said is that I think data cheat. In other words, data only write in a few things from time to time, not record the full picture. The whole exercise would then become a pointless waste of time. Student A says, I see what you mean. You are probably right. I don't know much about shopping addiction. But if someone asks me for advice, I think I'd suggest to them that they get rid of their credit cards. Student D says, I like the sound of that. I think it could help, especially if they have several credit cards. If the credit wasn't available to them, they wouldn't be able to keep buying things all the time. Student B says, I think that if a person is seriously addicted to shopping, they may need to seek professional counseling as well. People sometimes need professional help to overcome severe addictions, as they often can't help themselves. Student D says, yes, or perhaps even go to a self-help group to get help. They may also need financial help. Many shopaholics get into a lot of debt. They may need help repaying the debt and making wiser financial decisions in the future. Student A says, those are all good ideas, right? So far we have talked about what the term shopping addiction means, why you think it's on the rise, and what advice you give to someone who wants to stop being a shopping addict. Does anyone have something else to add? Student B says, why don't we add a quiz to the article? The quiz could be entitled something like, are you a shopaholic? I think we could probably find something similar on a website and copy it. Sandy says, we must be careful about copyright. Wouldn't it be better to write our own? It probably wouldn't be that difficult if I make sure it fits the Hong Kong context too. Student A says, that would be fun. I think it might be a good idea to include some information about where people can go to seek help if they think they have a problem. We could put a few telephone numbers and websites in a box at the bottom of the page, for example. We could research some suitable organization on the internet and perhaps even consult a school counselor too. Student C says, that sounds like a good idea. One last thing, what's going to be the title of the article? It would be good to make a decision about that now. Student D says, I'm not sure. Have you got something in mind? Student D says, well, I was thinking it could be something plain and simple like shopping spree, 瘋狂購物, or shopping addiction. What do you think? Student B says, I like the idea of having a question it could help to arouse. Read the discussion again and jot down the ways to give reason and examples. Exercise. Complete the following by asking a group of 3 other members to do the discussion with you. Record the discussion and ask your tutor to comment on the skills of giving reasons and expressing opinions. Part A group discussion. Preparation 10 minutes. Discussion 8 minutes per group of 4 students.